So I have some potentially good news now that Trump's in office. Remember what I was saying last year? I'd love nothing more than 2017 to start with Trump getting into that Oval Office. No, attempted assassinations, no nonsense. Gets in there. He's the president. He's going to be there for at least the next 4 years. And I can get out here and say, it'd be nice to have some good news for once. Come out and tell you the news of important stuff that's happening, but instead of, bullcrap, more cheating, more scamming, more, basically raking the people over the coals and finding out some new fraud and corruption has happened with this department, and we sent money over to the Middle East and it wasn't used appropriately, but we can't account for the $6 billion. Nobody knows where it went because we always use just cash over there. We don't do any kind of other transactions, which you want to know why we don't use other transactions like, bank-to-bank transfers so we can see who's taking the money out and that sort of thing. We just dump cash over there because the likes of the so-called Free Syrian Rebel Army, you might actually know them as ISIS, and we don't want to make that connection, so we just send the cash over there so you can't see where it's going. Next thing you know, you see ISIS riding around in 43 brand new Toyota pickup trucks on the taxpayer expense, of course. But I think it's safe to say you're going to watch, I'll give you a little analogy kind of a thing. You're an adult, I'm an adult, right? We're the teachers of a class. In the class, we have not just students, as in teenagers or, young adults. We got kids. I'm going to say between the ages of 9, 10, 11, maybe even 12. And we're going to play politics. And little Johnny, you're going to be the president, and so on and so forth. He's not really going to know what the hell he's doing. He's going to need guidance from his teachers, us adults. But Johnny was always the most popular kid in school. Johnny wants nothing more than to run things. Doesn't know what he's doing, but he wants to run things. So we kind of sit back and say, you know what? Let's see what Johnny can do. Let's not pitch in and really advise him. Let's just let him kind of do his thing. And ultimately, he fails miserably. Why? Because he had absolutely no experience, didn't know what he was doing. But he wanted to be the big shot. I want to be the big shot. People are going to come to me for everything. I'm going to be so popular. Boy, was I popular before? Pfft, wait till I get president. Oh. And then you see what he's done. And you say, son, good effort. Little golf clap for you, but you didn't know what the hell you were doing. Right? I mean, you wouldn't say that to the kid, but then you get a young man in there who is one of these, brilliant people, should be in college. He's basically barely not even a teenager. He should be in college, or he's already taking college classes, that sort of thing. He gets the chance at it. And we sit back and all and say, that's what's supposed to happen. Kids, boys and girls of the class, Jason over here did a really good job being the president. Here's what he did. And everyone else sits back and goes, oh my God, I didn't even know to think about that stuff, much less implement it. Wow, this guy really is that dude. That might be what Trump is. He's that guy that goes in there and says the little Barack Obamas and the Bushes who can't even speak a coherent sentence, and the Bill Clintons out there. Again, we just want power. We're nobodies, but we've always gone on along with the establishment. That's all that matters, and we made it in this world. Bill Clinton, governor of Arkansas, became a Freemason, looked the other way during the drug and gun running scandal, the Mena, Arkansas stuff. Next thing you know, he's the guy in the presidency. He was rewarded handsomely, wasn't he, to continue with the agenda. But he's not intelligent enough, doesn't have the understanding of real politics to really know what he needs to be doing. He just knows money, power, agenda, continue, which is all the opposite of what we need in this country. So you get a guy like Donald Trump in there. Opposite of that, I've already got money and power. I don't need that. Nor does he apparently flash it around anyways, like to throw his weight around. He comes in before he's even in the Oval Office, and he's making changes, drastic changes, and the world's standing by, still trying to protest him, but saying, whoa, you can't help but to notice, well, this guy's not playing around. As soon as he gets in office, executive order, we're going to do the transition from out of Obamacare. I mean, this guy ain't playing games. This is the guy, this is the little Jason in the classroom example. And he's essentially saying, you morons, Barack, Bush, Clinton's, get out of my way, you children. An adult is here to take control and show you what you're supposed to do. Take notes. And by the way, I want both Barack family and Clinton family, the Obamas and the Clintons, you're going to be at my inauguration. I know you don't want to be here. You're going to be here. Tail between the legs, they showed up. Did you see the look on the Clintons' face of all people? My goodness, as I said, if looks could kill, she would have murdered people just staring at them. Boy, oh boy. So we have Trump team prepares to make dramatic cuts in this overweight, fat, pig, beast government expansion. Again, government starts out this small. Think of a stomach. This small, and then we keep feeding it and feeding it, eating more than we need to eat, eating more garbage stuff than we need. And I raise my right hand, we're all guilty of that. Until you have this bloated, obese body, in this case government, that needs to be squeezed. Needs to go on the juicer diet, the JSNP4 juice diet. Go get you a juicer, put some fruits and vegetables, mostly fruits, or else you won't even be able to drink it. It tastes so bad. But nonetheless, you get on that diet. It's hard to do because your body is always telling you, I'm kind of hungry, but you're getting the nutrients that you need. Anyways, you become back to the size you're supposed to be. Just like the government, Trump is going to squeeze the fat out of that government. Budget cuts, budget cuts, budget cuts. Not for you, for the government this time. So it says he's about to take an axe, more like a chainsaw, if you don't mind me saying so, to government spending. And the staffers for Trump, at least his transition team when they were getting ready to go in, have been meeting with career staff at the White House ahead of Friday's presidential inauguration to outline their plans for shrinking the federal bureaucracy. The changes they're actually proposing are quite drastic in any other terms of any other president, I should say. Wouldn't even think about taking an axe that big, or a chainsaw in this case that big. The Departments of Commerce and Energy would see major reductions in funding, with programs under their jurisdiction either being eliminated or transferred to other agencies. The Department of Transportation, Justice, and State would see significant cuts in program eliminations. The Corporation of Public Broadcasting would be privatized, while the National Endowment for the Arts and National Endowment for the Humanities would be eliminated entirely. Now, you have to understand something. When you hear a name like, Endowment for the Arts and National Endowment, and aren't these good things? Understand that whenever laws or things are created, I always tell you this a million times, they give it this wonderful name, the Restore Democracy Act of 1977. Oh, yeah, for the people. And then you look at the law, the bill. Hey, you're taking away some of our rights there. You're creating new government bureaucracy, fattening government, more regulation. Whoa. Doesn't sound like you're restoring democracy. You're cutting away. You're chipping away at it. But they give it these wonderful names. So don't be surprised if you hear a wonderful name that's getting axed. And when you look at what it actually did, kind of like the Clinton Foundation. But they give the poor people across the earth. It's so good. It's a good foundation. No, that's just the cover story. And they don't give that much. It's a tiny fraction of the money they make. Because if it was such a good thing, all of the countries across the face of the earth that have been giving to her foundation would not have pulled back almost completely. As I said, the Global Initiative, Clinton Global Initiative, it is gone. It's effective weeks ago, done, put a fork in it. More or less 2 weeks ago, I think. Next to go is the Clinton Foundation. It is going away, mark my words. I mean, unless they need to keep it up for some reason with like a skeleton crew of like a handful of people just to say we're here, we're in existence. Maybe that'll stick around. I don't know. But if you don't have funds coming in, it's going to go bye-bye, because the Clintons don't want to have to pay for something themselves just to keep it up, just to have their name on it. No, we need other people paying for that. And since you didn't win, maybe that's why the other countries are deciding, now we're not just pulling out because of the scandal that came out about you and the emails and all that stuff, and your husband and old history. We're not just, taking the funding away just because of that, but you don't have any more power. You're dead to us. And it was nice knowing you. We had great parties and cocktails. Everything. $5,000 dinners. Hey, we appreciate it. But you're not in power anymore. You're old news. Get out of my face. That's going to be the biggest blow to the Clinton dynasty. Overall, the blueprint being used by Trump's team would reduce federal spending by $10.5 trillion, $10.5 trillion. Yes, over 10 years. And a lot of times I'll read news about, Obama said he's going to cut $1 trillion in spending over 10 years. Oh, so $100 billion a year, which ultimately turned out not to be. We needed more in the military budget, defense budget, so never mind, I washed that out. Sorry about that. This is big numbers. This is $1 trillion a year, not $1 trillion over 10 years. This is $10.5 trillion over 10 years. That is significant, my friends. The proposed cuts hew closely to a blueprint published last year by the Conservative Heritage Foundation, a think tank that has helped staff the Trump transition. Similar proposals have in the past won support from Republicans in the House and Senate who believe they have an opportunity to truly tackle spending after years of warnings about the rising debt. Many of the specific cuts were included in the 2017 budget adopted by the Conservative Republican Study Committee, a caucus that represents a majority of House Republicans. The RSC budget plan would reduce federal spending by $8.6 trillion over the next decade. Two members of Trump's transition team are discussing the cuts at the White House Budget Office. Russ Vought, a former aide to Vice President-elect Mike Pence, and former executive director of the RCSC, and John Gray, who previously worked for Pence, Senator Rand Paul, and Speaker Paul Ryan when Ryan headed the House Budget Committee. Vought and Gray, who both worked for the Heritage Foundation, are laying the groundwork for the so-called skinny budget, a 175 to 200-page document that will spell out the main priorities of the incoming Trump administration, along with summary tables. It's expected to come out within about 45 days or so, this document in full, after Trump has taken office, which, as you know, he has taken office. Again, my fingers have to remain crossed because we have a history in this country of somebody like Trump coming in and completely overturning the establishment, their agenda, their rules, their laws, their regulations, everything that they had. And they realize the longer this person is allowed to stand there alive, the more we're going to lose and have to redo with the next president we select, which might be Vice President-elect, Mr. Pence, or not elect, whatever, but Vice President Pence. And I remember in the very beginning, it's like, well, hold on, Pence's view in the Middle East and this and that like differ from Trump, and some of his other views and other things, or his views on other things also differ from Trump, but he's still picking him anyways, okay. So you could make the argument that if Trump, they took out Trump, Pence might toe the line back to the way it was, you know what I mean? I sure hope that's not the case. Man, do I sure hope that we don't see another return of JFK, assassinations, that sort of thing. I'm just hoping that there was some major dirt, the pedophile stuff, the Pizzagate stuff, whatever, maybe more, maybe things we don't even know about, that, like Bix Weir says, the good guys who don't run things but are high enough to know these things, gathered that stuff and said, we've had enough, leaked it to the appropriate places like WikiLeaks, who then said, Trump is going to be in that White House. Quite possibly, we know you rigged the votes. We know that's obvious, so you're now going to rig them in favor of Mr. Donald Trump. And if you don't, here's what we got on all of your people. And they sat back and said, oh my goodness, we would be possibly given the death sentence for what we've done. So let's go ahead and play ball on that, which also means, and again, I'm just speculating big time here, which also would mean if they take him out, we still have the documentation, the videos, the everything else, the emails, and we will release it should you take this man out. So don't even think about it, which would mean We have nothing to worry about. This man's going to be the president. He's going to, as he said, make America great again. And I have to tell you, I can't wait to see where this goes, because they are getting busy just as he said they would. Day one, day two, I ain't got time to wait. Get out of my way. I will steamroll you is essentially what he's saying. I will steamroll you if you're in the path of me fixing this country. Get that legislation going. I'm not waiting. We're not dragging this out. We are getting stuff done faster than the speed of light. And he's made some interesting comments too. Mr. Trump has. Like I said about the whole technology thing, go to the stars and all that in his inaugural speech. Like, oh, that's an interesting statement. And then somebody, which let me just pull up on my email, sent me something else. Oops. Let me just pause this real quick. Yeah, so basically, he's like, hey, Trump's uncle, MIT genius, was the first person to analyze what Nikola Tesla had written, accumulated in his New York hotel room at the time of his passing. I heard that yesterday on YouTube site, but I can't remember which one. There was another one someone sent me. No, something else that was interesting. It's making me think, wow, Trump really knows. Like the kind of discussions I, and we could have about whether it's the silver gold stuff, the Bitcoin stuff, not even really that, but where I used to study things, Area 51, technology, Bob Lazar videos. I've got his DVD video sitting over here, or someone that put it together anyways. I think he's in the know, and we may be about to see some wonderful things, some not intelligence, but some incredible technology that in and of itself may make America great again. Remains to be seen. But boy, oh boy, do I hope this, he's that dude. He appears to be. He's not backtracking on stuff. He's really going forward. So we have to just sit back and wait and see. But interesting that they're steamrolling right now. So take care.